And a huge shout out to AC Infinity for sponsoring today's video. If you're looking for some high-tech quality equipment for your tent, check out acinfinity.com. Whether it's their clip-on fans, the Gen 2s, their air circulation systems, or their lights, check them out at acinfinity.com. Use promo code PIGEONS420. You're going to save a few dollars off at checkout. You're going to help support the show, and you're going to get yourself some quality equipment. Also, a huge shout out to Seedsman. If you're looking for some quality genetics from a quality place, check out Seedsman. Use promo code PIGEONS420. They're working with some of the best breeders in the game to hook you up with quality genetics. Check them out. Use promo code PIGEONS420 and thank them both for sponsoring today's video.
New York Times has a recording of Nixon, one of the presidents, a shamed president, if I may, that was one of drugs, cannabis, if in particular, marijuana, one of its biggest proponents, now caught saying it wasn't even that big of a deal. And he knew it was not even a big deal. You just scroll down on that article and it's just a recording. I would read it to you, but it's so far away.
Listen to the article?
No, just go down. Right there. It's gonna listen. It's gonna play what he says.
Oh.
Now, most of the kids would realize it, but on the other hand,
Zoom in.
it's the wrong signal this time.
Well, sorry, replay.
Let me say, I know nothing about marijuana. I know that it's not particularly dangerous and all the rest. I know most of the kids would realize it, but on the other hand, it's the wrong signal this time.
It's the wrong signal at this time. That is crazy. So it's really hard to hear because it's 1973. Three? Oh.
That's when the picture's from.
Oh, nice. I was gonna say early 70 because, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. March 6, 1973.
Okay, because it was Ford after JFK and then Nixon. This article, essentially, I'm gonna read it because I want to read. I want to get into what he said. Nixon is one of marijuana's. I have to say marijuana because that's what they called it all the time. Biggest advocates. 2 years after former President Richard Nixon launched a war on drugs in '71, calling substance use the nation's, quote, public enemy number one, he made a startling admission during a meeting in the Oval Office. Speaking to a small group of aides and advisors at the White House in March of '73, Nixon said he knew that marijuana was not particularly dangerous. Nixon, who had publicly argued that curbing drug use globally warranted, quote, all-out offensive, also quote unquote, also privately expressed unease about the harsh punishments Americans were facing for marijuana crimes. Quote, penalties should be commensurate? That's the first time I've ever seen that word in my life. No, that's okay. Penalties, it's the 70s. They had words I never used before. Penalties should be commensurate with the crime. So Nixon said during that Oval Office meeting, calling a 30-year sentence in a case he recently had learned about, quote unquote, ridiculous. That's crazy, man. This guy knew, bro. I think this is like an atrocity. It just goes to show you, like, politicians have so many other narratives, man. So many other narratives. So the remarks were captured on the president's secret recording system amid a set of tapes that were only recently made widely available. A lobbyist for the cannabis industry in Minnesota pored over hours of the tapes and came across the remarks, which leading historians on the Nixon era said they found revelatory. So relevant?
I guess.
Relevant? I mean, relevant? The comments on scratchy, sometimes hard to hear recordings provide a surprise glimpse into the thinking of the president who implemented the federal government's drug classification system and decided that marijuana belonged in a category of substances deemed most prone to abuse and of no proven medical value. Over 5 decades, that designation has led to millions of arrests, which disproportionately affected black people and hobbled efforts. What's with all these words? Do you think when they write an article they go through a thesaurus and change, like
100%.
your English teacher did? Do they change 10 words?
100%.
Just sound smarter?
Yes.
It's ridiculous. Just have a
So
conversation with me, please.
So that the average person thinks
So the
that they're
average
stupid.
person's it can pay the 50 cents a month for a New York Times article
Yes.
subscription.
Yes.
Kick rocks, okay? I'd rather be dumb than pay money for this. I think this is extraordinary. I'm not overly surprised, to be honest, in regards to hearing the president say this, but yet going all out. I remember the video of him announcing that he was going to open up the DEA and start essentially enforcing this. They were going to push $135 million. Back then, that's probably equivalent to $500,000 or $500 million. It's just like, and he knew it wasn't particularly dangerous. Who knows how much money Nixon was receiving from either big tobacco or alcohol or police unions, or I don't know. I have no idea. But what on earth would make somebody go against what they even think, with their own better judgment, to pursue something like this? What could it be? What could it be? We already know that Nixon was corrupt. There's another audio further down. Oh, is there? I have the same article.
There is.
Oh. Okay, play the first one.
Should be commensurate with the crime. I know that in the paper the other day. My father turned in his old. Oh, I did. And then after he said, I didn't realize the penalty, which would be a sentence in 30 years. Driving the penalties are ridiculous. Now, that's what we can say. But I am not for legalization. I don't want to encourage the drug thing. We're starting to win the fight against drugs. This is not a time to let down the bars and to encourage, basically, people to break over this threshold into the drug culture.
Wow. And to think too, like they just look at this guy as a pawn. Nixon knew that it was ridiculous, but because he was a pawn, it was just like, yeah, we're leading the war. They were never leading the war. They were never winning the war on drugs. Never one time was it even close. It was never close. Oh my God, just a moment in time there where it's like, this guy knew, man. And this guy spent 30 years. And he probably still spent 30 years. Wow, that's the story, that's the nudes. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think?